Hello everyone, I'm Frank, and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's challenging level puzzle, and it's called XY Sandwiches by Skojo, and here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 through 9 once each in every row, column, and 3x3 box. XY Sandwiches. Clues outside the grid give the sum of the digits between the xth and yth cells seen from the direction of the clue, where x and y are the first two cells seen from the direction of the clue. For example, a row reading, so say we had a row reading, okay. So say, let's just use this one. 5, 8, 1, 3. So this is, instead of x sums, these are xy sandwiches, it seems like. 4, 6, 7, 9, 2. And say we had a 13 here, outside of it. Say this was 13 on the left, and this was 29 on the right. So, the 13, for example, a row reading 5, 8, 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 2 could have an XY sandwich clue of 13 on the left, summing the digits between the 5th and the 8th cell from the left. So that would be 5 through 8. So that would be 4, 6, 7, 9. It's between the 5th and 8th cell, so it would just be 6 and 7 then. And the clue of 29 on the right, summing the digits between the 2nd and the 9th cell. So between the 5th and the 8th cell on going right would be 6 and 7. So that would add up to 13. That's fine. Between the 2nd and 9th going left would be between 9 and 5. So that would be 7, 6, 4, 3, which is 20, plus 1 plus 8, which is 29. So that was 7, 6, 4, 3 adds up to 20. 1 and 8 add up to 9, so it's 29. So that's why it would add up to 29. So for the first two digits, those describe the boundaries of the sandwich, and they do not include those for the sum. And that's it. So the first two digits, so this is the 2nd and the 9th digit. This is the 5th and the 8th digit. Obviously, it can be reversed too, right? You could have 8, 5, and that would still be the same. But the number on the second one, on the left side, would be different because it wouldn't be 29 anymore because of the swap of the 8 and the 5. But basically, these are the two outer parts that you know, right? And it sums to whatever the number is outside the grid. So the 13 would go here, and the 29 would go in this, would be outside the 2, if this were a valid XY sandwich clue. And those are all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay, first thing I see then is a 42. This has to be 1 through 9 then, right? You can only avoid two. The most you can have between cells is 7 cells, right? And you have 7 unique digits. So it has to be at most 42. So therefore, this 42 has to correspond to that. And it has to contain 3 through 9 specifically in the sandwich. So we know this one has to have between the first and the last cell, so 1 and 9. And since the between part has to include the 9, the outside one has to be 1. So this has to be 1, this has to be 9, which forces this to be 2, right? Because the in-between cells have to add up to 42. On top of that, we know it's between 1 and 9, and there have to be 7 unique numbers. So that's definitely 3 through 9. So therefore, 2 has to be left out, and 1 has to be left out. So we know all of these add up to 42. So it's 3 through 8 here. This cannot be 3 because what's between 2 and 3? It's 0 essentially. So this can't be 3. It's also, we also know there's 25 and there's no 9. So that means that is at least 4 unique digits that add up to 25, right? Because it's between, oh, it doesn't, hold up, this could be 3. No, it can't be 3. We know it's between the second and something. So it's either between the second and the 8th one, or between the second and the 7th one. So there's 4 digits involved if it's between the second and the 7th and the second and the 8th. So this has to be 7 or 8. If it's 8, between the second and the 8th one, that would mean all 5 of these are included. So it would have to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that works. Because that adds up to 25. Now, if it's between the 2nd and the 7th, it would be these 4. If the 7th were a 3, which is the minimum, and therefore the maximum would be here, that would be 4, 5, 6, and 8. 4, 5, 6 is 15, but 8 plus 8 is 23, so 7 does not work. Therefore, this must be 8, and this has to be 3 through 7 in between, which adds up to 25. Okay, so this cannot be, this is between the second, if we tried to make it the second and the 4th, this would have to be an 8, but we already have an 8 here. So this cannot be between the 2nd and the 4th. It could be 2nd and 5th, or it could be 2nd and 6th. That's possible. So this is 5 or 6 with it. If it's 5, that means these 2 would have to add up to 8, which would mean it's 1, 7 in between. If it's 2 and 6, that means it would be these 3, and it would have to be 1, 3, and 4. So these 2 have to have, this would be 1. So one of these 3 is a 1. And it's either 1, 7 here, and this is 5, or it's 1, 3, 4 here, and this is 6. Similarly, this could be between 1, it cannot be 1 and 3, because then this would have to be 9, but we already have a 9 here. This is between 9, okay, so this is between 1 and, cannot be 1 and 3, it has to be 1 and 4 or 1 and 5. If it's 1 and 4, that means we have 2 digits here. If it's 1 and 4, we know this is 4, and this the between digits would have to be 4 and 5. If it's 1 and 5 here, that doesn't work. Because if you had 1 and 5, that includes a 5 here in between, and then there would be at lowest 5 plus 2 plus 3. So this has to be 1, 4, and this is 5, which makes this we don't know. Okay, so this can't be 4 or 5. This is between the 4th. It cannot be the 1st anymore. It can't be the 2nd. It can't be the 3rd, right? If it's between the 4th and the 1st, first of all, it can't be because there's a 1. And then it couldn't be because there's no possibility for 8 and 9 to be there. 4 and 2 doesn't work because there's only 1 digit between, and that can't add up to 17. 4 and 3 doesn't work because there's no digits, that adds up to 0. 4 and 5 has the same problem. 4 and 6 has the same problem. So therefore, you can't add up to 17. 4 and 7 could work. So this could be 7 or it could be 8. Similarly, this, okay, so say this was 9 and 8. That doesn't work. So this cannot be 9 and 8 because it adds up to 0. In between it, so this is 7. which means the 8 between 9 and 7 has to be 8 exactly. So that's 8. Therefore, we know these two, between the 4 and the 7, adds up to 17. So this must be 8 and 9. So this one has to be between the 8th and the 5th, which could add up to 7, or the 8th and the 4th, which could add up to 7. If it's 4, if it's between 8 and 4, there cannot be 1, 2, and 4 there, which doesn't work. So therefore, this has to be 8 and 5. So between the 8th number and the 5th number going this way, there has to add up to 7. So it cannot be 2, 5. It could be 1, 6, which means this can't be 1. This can't be 6. It could be 3, 4. This can't be 4, so this can't be 3. So this can no longer be 7 here. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 3 and 6. This is 3 and 6, which forces these to be 2 and 8. This can't be 8 because of the 8, 9 pair here. So therefore, this is 2. This is 8. Okay, this cannot be 9 and 8 because it can't be, there would be 0 digits there. So it would sum to 0. Can't be 8 and 7. Same problem. It could be 8 and 6. It cannot be 8 and 5 because there's a 5 here. It cannot be 8 and 4 because there's a 4 here. And it can't be 8 and 3 because that does... what would add up between 8 and 3 is 4 digits, which doesn't add up to 7. So this has to be a 6 here, which forces this between 6 and 8 to be add up to 7. So this must be 7. Let's see. This must contain... So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 here. Obviously, this can't be 6. We know we have... So this cannot be 5 or 6. It could be 1. Between 1 and 5 or 6. It would have to be between 1 and 5, right? And if it's between 1 and 5... Well, let's fill out the rest of this. This is 1, 3, 5, or 6. This is 1, 3, 5, or 6. And this is 1, 3, 5, or 6. This obviously cannot be 5 or 6, because if it's 5 or 6, that means there's 0 cells in between the sandwich. So therefore, that doesn't add up to 16 at all. If it's between 1 and 5 or 6, it can't be 1 and 6. Actually, it can never be anything in 6, right? If it tries to be 6, if we try to have 6 here with 1 or 3, we know these two add up to 17, and therefore this 16 doesn't work. So this one has to be 5, which means this is between 2 and 5, which means this has to be 1 and 7. This can't be 7. So we know the 7's over here. This is 1 or 7 to add up to 8. Can't be 2, 6, can't be 3, 5. So it must be 1 or 7. If it's, let's see, if it's between 3 and 5, that doesn't work because that would just be one number. That doesn't add up to 16. So this must be 1, which forces this to be 7, which forces this to be 1. So this can't be 1 or 5. This can't be 1 or 5. So between 1 and 5 must add up to 16. So it has to be 1, 6, and 9 because this is the only possibility. So this is 6 and 9, which makes this 8 and 3. This can't be 6. These can't be 3. This is between 8 and some other, the 8th one and something else. It cannot be 7 because that would be 0 digits. Can't be 6 because that would be only 1 digit and that doesn't add up to 12. It could be 4 or 5. Either one of those works. This is between the first and the 8th digit. There has to be 22. So we have 6 digits here, which add up to 22. So it has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adds up to 15, and 7 adds up to 22. That's the only 6-digit number, 6-digit set of unique digits that can add up to 22. Therefore, this has to be 6 and 9, right? Outside. If it's since it's 6 and 9, that means these 2 digits must add up to 5. So therefore, this must be a 4. So this can't be 4. That's a 3 or 5. This is 3 or 5, but it can't be 5. So therefore, this is 3 and this is 5, which forces this to be 4. So this can no longer be 4 or 5. This can't be 4 or 5. This must be a 3. This must be a 6. The 6 cannot be here. So therefore, these 2 digits between the 5th and the 8th digit going this way must add up to 7, so this must be a 1. Wait, we have a contradiction here. Ooh, that's not good. Between the 1st and the 4th, between these two must add up to 9, so that's 4 and 5. Between the 7th and 9th and 7th, that must add up to 8. Between the 9th and 7th, that's 8. This is not good. Between the 8th and the 1st, it must add up to... Between the 2nd and the 5th, it must add up to 7 and 1. Between the 2nd and 8th, it must add up to 25, which is fine. Between the 1st and the 9th, it must add up to 42. This would have to be 1, but then we have a 1 and 1, which is not allowed. This is 1, 2, and 5. Okay, this is not... Huh. I messed something up, obviously. We have to restart because... Keep the time. Okay, so this is between the 1st and the 9th, and it has to be, obviously, 2. That has to be the case, right? You can only have 7 digits in between. So then, and then the max is 42. Which is exactly what the number is, so therefore it has to be the max. And then we tried 2 and 7. That didn't seem to work. Right? 2 and 7, you have 4, 5, 6, and 8 at most. Which is 23, which does not add up to 25. So this has to be 22 and 8. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Between the 1st and the 4th, if it's between the 1st and the 5th, that would have to include a 5, which is not allowed. So this has to be 4. 1st and 4, which means these two add up to 9. So that has to be 1 and 5. Cannot be 4 or 5. Maybe this was the problem. Oh, it can't be 6, right? It can't be 4 and 6. So it has to be at least 4 and 7 or 4 and 8. And it can't be 9 and 8 here. Therefore, this has to be 7, right? Between 4 and 7 adds up to 17. So it must be 8 and 9. Because those are the only 2 digits that can ever add up to 17 if it's unique. This is 9 and 7. Between 9 and 7 must be up to 8. So this is 8. Between the 8th and it could be the 6th, but that would be 7, so it can't be. If you tried eighth and the fourth and eighth, that's possible if you had a 1, 2, 4 there, but the problem is the 4 is out here. So this has to be 5, which means it cannot be 2, 5 to add up to 7. It could be 1, 6, or 3, 4. And it can't be 1 or 4 here, so it can't be 3 or 6 here. So this is 3 or 6, this is 3 or 6. This can't be 2, or this has to be 2 and 8. 8 can't be here, therefore this is 2, which makes that 8. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. If this is this, it could be, no, it can't be 6 and 9. 7, 8, and 9 are removed from here. So this is 1, 3, 5, or 6. This is 1, 3, 5, or 6. This can't be 2 and 1 because there's no digit between 2 and 1. Can't be 2 and 3 because there's no digit between 2 and 3. So this is 5 or 6. If this is ever 6, it can't be with 5 because that would be 0 digits. If it was 6 with 3, that doesn't work. So therefore, this has to be 2 and 5. And there's 2 digits that add up to 8 between 2 and 5. So it has to be 1 and 7. Can't be 2, 6, can't be 3, 5, can't be 4, 4. It has to be 1, 7. This can't be 5 or 6. We tried 3 and 5. That doesn't work because that's only 1 digit, and that adds up to 16. So this has to be 1. And this, therefore, this is 7, which makes this 1. This can't be 1 or 5. This, between 1 and 5, is 3 digits. So it has to be 1, 6, and 9. So this has to be 3. This has to be 8. This has to be 3. This can't be 5, 6, or 7. This can't be 3. Maybe it was here that I messed up. Obviously can't be 6 and 1, so this becomes 4 and 3. So this is 6 then, which forces this not to be 6. So it's a 4, 5, 7 triplet, which means this can't be 4. So therefore this must be 3. Yeah, I don't know how I eliminated that 3. I don't know. This is 4 and 9. Obviously this is still the same. So we have between the first digit and the 8th digit, that's 6 digits, adding up to 22. That can only be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. So this is 4. This is 9. I don't know how I messed this up. Anyways, this is now 1, 2, and 6. This has to be 6 and 9 over here. I don't know how I messed this up because this is all still works. I don't know. This, yeah, between the 6th and the 9th digit adds up to 5. So that works. This is 2, 3, 5, and 7. Between the 2nd and 5th adds up to 8. That's fine. Maybe it was this part that I'm screwing up. Anyways. Cannot be between the 8th and the 9th digit. I still don't even know how I messed it up. I don't know. Yeah. This can't be 3 and 4 anymore. Between the 8th digit, it cannot be the 9th digit because that would be 0 adding up to. Can't be 8th and the 7th digit because that would also be 0. It could be the 8th and the 6th digit. It cannot be 8th and 5th and 8th and 4th because the 5 and 4 here. So it could be the 3rd and the 8th, but if you have between the 3rd and the 8th, that's 4 digits, which add up to 7, which is not allowed. So this has to be 8 and 6, which makes this 9, which makes this 6. This has to be 7, because between the 6th and 8th digit is only 1 digit, and that therefore adds up to 7. This can't be 6. I don't know how I messed this one up, anyways. Between the 6th digit, it cannot go higher because it cannot, there's not 20 points or 20, there's not a sum of digits that add up to 20. It's 10 at most. So it cannot go higher. So this can't be 9, can't be 5 or 4. Can't be 3 because that's only 2 digits, which add up to 20, which is not allowed. It could be 2, can't be 1, so it has to be 2. So this has to be 2, which makes this 1, which makes this 2, 6. So in between the second and the 6th digit has to be 3 digits that add up to 20. We know we have to have a 3 there then. Because 7, 8, and 9 doesn't add up, so this can't be 3. So 3 has to be there, so it has to be 3, 8, and 9. Therefore, this is 7. Between the 2nd and the 5th, the 2nd and the 5th adds up to 13. So this is either 4, 9, or it can't be 6, 7. So it has to be 4, 9 to add up to 13. Because 5, 8 is ruled out because of the 5 here. This can't be 8 either because of that. We have 4, 9, 3, 9. This can't be 7. Where is the 7 in box 3? It has to be here. So that's 7. This is 3, 4, or 9. I'm not sure which. Can't be 9 because of this 9. So this is 3 or 4. One of these is 3 or 9. One of them is 1, and one of them is 5. So this can't be 1. So this has to be 1, 3, 7, and 8. This is 1, 3, 7, and 8. Obviously, these can't be 7 here. This can't be 1. This can't be 3. This can't be 7. This can't be 8. So this can't be 7 and 8 because you have 0 digits in between the 7th and 8th digit. This could be 4 or it could be 5. Between the 8th and the 6th is 9. If we tried to make it between the 6th and the 3rd, the only possibility would have to be 1 and 8, but that would eliminate all possibilities for this. So it cannot be 6 and 3, right? If it's 6 and 3, the only possibility that can add up to 9 would be 1 and 8. But then that would eliminate all possibilities here. So therefore, this cannot be between 6 and 3. It has to be between 6 and 8, which makes that 1. This is now 3 and 7. So between the 6th and the 8th digit has to add up to 9. So this has to be 9. So this is 4. This is 3 then because of this 9. And therefore, that's a 4. So these can't be 3 anymore. These can't be 9 anymore. Okay, between the 9th digit, so we already have 12. It cannot be the 6th digit. It could be the 5th. It cannot be the 4th. So it has to be the 5th then. There's no other place for, like if we tried to make it between the 3rd. Oh wait, where it has to be the 3rd, sorry. Because where is the 3 in this column, right? This can't be 3. This has to be 3. Which means this is 1, 2, 5. Okay, I guess that works, actually. Yeah. And then this is 2, 5, and 4. 2, 4, and 5. This can't be 2 or 5. Therefore, this must be the 4. So this can't be 4. This has to be 6, 8, and 9. So this can't be 8. This can't be 9. This has to be 6 and 9. So 9 is, this can't be 7. So 6 has to be here, 6 has to be here. Where's the 6? It has to be in column 4 for box 5 because it can't be in columns 5 and 6 because 6 is here, 6 is here, 9 is here, 9 is here. Same reasoning for 9. So this has to be 6 or 9 here. Okay, so this 1, 4, so this is all done. 2 and 6 adds up to 20. That's all done. 7, 9 adds up to 8. That's done. 5 and 8 adds up to 7, which is done. This is 8. 8 and 1 is done. 2 and 5 is done. 2 and 8 is done. 5 and 1 is done. 3 and 9 are done. 8 and 6 are done. That's 9. 2 and 5 are done. 6 and 9 are done. 5 and 8 are done. 2 and 6 are done. So can this ever be 2 with any of these numbers? No. It has to be 6 with one of those numbers, right? And if it's 6, then this becomes 9. If we try to do 2 with 8 or 9, that's at least 5 digits, which add up to 5, and your unique digits, so that would not work. So this has to be 6, which makes this a 9, which makes this an 8. So it's between the 6th and the 8th digit. Has to be a 5. Has to add up to 5, so this can't be 5. So therefore, this is a 5, which forces this to be 2, which forces this to be 5. None of these can be 5. This can't be 5 anymore. This can't be 9, so this is 6, which means this can't be 6, it's 2. Can't be 8, this is 9. So between the 9th digit, cannot be the 9th and 7th digit because that's only one digit. It's the 2nd or the 3rd digit. Has to add up to 20. Between the 9th and the 2nd digit, we already know 6, 8, and 9 are outside. So that's 23. So that does not work. Between the, oh wait, 9th digit. 9th digit is 8 here. And the 2nd digit. If it's 9th and 2nd digit between those two, we know then it's 2, 9, and 8 on the outside, which is not sandwiched. So that adds up to 19. So 45 minus 19 is 26. So it cannot be the second one. So this has to be the third one. So this has to be 7. This has to be 3 then. Between the 3rd and the 9th digit must be 20. So this is 1. So without these 4 digits, it must add up to 20. I think which works. So we have 3, 9, and 8, which adds up to 20, plus 5 is 25. 45 minus 25 is 20. So that works. So therefore, this has to be 2, 4, and 7. Obviously, this can't be 4. This can't be 3 anymore. This is 2. So this has to be 3, 5, 6, or 9. Because 3, 5, 6, and 9 cannot be here. So either 3, 5 are here. We already know 6 and 9 had to be here. This has to be 4, 8. Cannot be 4, so this must be 8, which makes this 4. This can't be 1. This can't be 9 because of this 9. This can't be 3 because of this 3. What's left over here? This is 3 or 5 with 1 or 8. So this can't be 8. This can't be 3. Okay, so then we have, if this is between 4 and 8, this has to be 1, 2, 9. If it's between 5 and 8, it has to be 3 and 9. Actually, I guess it could be 1, 5, 6, or 2, 4, 6. But the problem is you don't have 2 and 4 here to form a 2, 4 pair with 6. You don't have 1 and 5 here to form a 1, 5 pair with a 6. So therefore, it can't be, either way, it has to be 9, right? It's either 1, 2, 9, for if this is 4, between 4 and 8, it's 1, 2, 9. Or if it's between 5 and 8, it has to be 3 and 9. It can't be anything with 6. So therefore, we know this is 9, so this can't be 9. So therefore, this is 9. This can't be 9. This can't be 9. If this is 5, okay, so this can never be 5 here, right? Because it can't add up to 12. And we know it's between 4 and 5. So this cannot be 5. If this is 5, this has to be 3 and 9 between this. That's fine. If it's 4, it could be 1, 2, and 9. And therefore, this would be 5. So this can never be 5 here. Okay. These two, so in between these, add up to 22. If we tried to have 5 with either 3 or 7, that would only be one digit. and that can never add up to 22. So this has to be 1 or 2. If it's 3 with 1 or 3 with 2, that was only either 1 digit or 0 digit. So that can never add up to 22. So this must be 7. So this has to be 7, which makes this a 3. So this can't be 3. This can't be 3. 7, between 7 and 1 or 2. If you have 7 and 2, 7 and 2, that means this would have to be 5 here, right? Well, also, we don't have a 5 anywhere else. Where is the 5? It cannot be anywhere here. So therefore, that has to be here now. Right, because it couldn't be here because of the 5. And it couldn't be here. Why couldn't it be there? I'm not sure why that got eliminated. I know I eliminated recently. Because if it's 4, it's 1, 2 here, which forces this to be 5. Right, but this can't be 5 anyways. So this can't be 5. Therefore, this cannot be 4 and 8. That's in between. Therefore, it has to be 5 and 8. Which means this is a 3. Because, right, it couldn't be 1, 2, 9 anymore. So it cannot be 4 and 8 then in between. So therefore, this becomes 7. This is 3. This is not 7. This can't be 3 or 5. So this must be 6. This can't be 3 or 6. So this is 5. No 3 or 5. No 5. This can't be 6 anymore. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2. This has to be the 4. So this can't be 4. Between the 7th number and the 2nd number, what do we have right now? We have 10 and 12, which is 22. So it has to be between the 2nd number and the 7th number. So this is 1. This can't be 5, so it's 3. This is 5. Now we're just doing Sudoku. This is 2 and 2. This is not 1 and 1. This can't be 4, so therefore this is 7. This is 4, which makes this not a 7, so this is 2. This is 7. That can't be 2, so this is 6. This is 2, which means this can't be 6. This is 8, and therefore that's a 6. No 8 means this is a 1. 8. No 5, that's 1, and this is 5. And that's a solution. Yeah, I don't know how I messed up in the middle of this puzzle. That was very weird, where... I don't know. I somehow messed this up. And I don't even know how I got there. Anyways, besides the mess up, that was pretty straightforward. You just start adding things together and seeing what can happen, right? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.